The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
Really grateful to have him on. He's Representative Tim O'Driscoll. A good Friday to you, sir.
Good Friday to you as well.
You know, I know it's not polite, especially on Good Friday, for folks who don't know. So I tell the representative, sir, we're on in about 40 seconds. Put him on hold and instantly hang up on him. Sorry about that, sir.
I kind of figured it had to do with our off-air conversation, and I want and I'm gonna tell the folks. Al does not like the green bean casserole with the French onion stuff.
Okay, we're gonna share.
On the other hand, love it.
We are sharing green room stuff. Then that's all okay. You've opened the door. I don't scallop potatoes. I can do. You mentioned the scallop potatoes and the green. I can do them, but don't tell me mashed potatoes are 10 times better than a scallop potato. Come on.
Well, you're 0-2 today, man alive.
Oh, I think you're just wrong, my friend. I'm sorry. I like you a ton, but you're just wrong. And then, anyway, there's just some traditional dishes. Like, what is it, cranberry sauce out of the can? What is that? Cranberry
bingo. We found something we agree on.
Okay, fair enough.
There's a no-go on that.
And you have big plans for the Easter holiday, my friend?
Yeah, I'm bringing family over, and we're going to get together and have the standard fare, including some of the things we just talked about.
All right, fantastic. Good for you. I appreciate you being on the program. We're going to talk about a couple things, and I want to get there, sir. But something hit today in the news that I would say put it together for me. It really hit me in a really weird way, and I want to talk to you about it. Let me just find it here real quick. We have lots of problems in the state of Minnesota. I don't think you can actually fix a problem if you don't really understand that it's a problem. Here's the thing, according to CCO Radio. Minneapolis police are detailing what they know about a string of vandalized Tesla vehicles over the last month. Authorities say a total of 6 vehicles were keyed near downtown Minneapolis, and these cases are unique because perpetrators are easily captured on the vehicle's cameras. Here's the point that gets me. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara says while he can't speculate on the motives in this case, he says it's a nationwide problem. He cannot speculate on the motive. You're a bright man, my friend. If I were to give you one guess what the motive is, could you come up with something?
Well, you know what? Before I did that, I would say, how many other reports do we have of vehicles being keyed at the same time frame? And what were the makes and models of those? Oh, wait, there weren't any. Elon Musk. Next question.
Yeah, thank you. But here's my point. If the chief of police cannot come out and say, well, obviously this is motivated by a hatred for Elon, maybe it even goes to Donald Trump, but this is obviously a political thing. If he can't say that, how is he ever going to fix the problem, sir? And I think that's going to go through everything we talk about today, but that's just ridiculous.
I'll take it to the next level. Okay. He's here legally in this country, and we have the Maryland man out there who, the senator is running there like he's some kind of political prisoner. I'm all about immigration. I am full up on immigration. As a matter of fact, I have immigrants that live in my neighborhood. They're fun people. They're great people. They just love America, right? It's like, how do we get in? Tell us more about the holidays. We want to be as American as we can be. However, when you are in a situation where you come here illegally, there's a reason why you go through a screening process to make sure back in the days you didn't have tuberculosis or things that would cause pandemics in the country. But it's not like we say we don't want people. We want to make sure that people are healthy as they're coming in so we don't have the introduction of disease that this country is not immunized against or has built up a resistance to.
Yep, no, I get you what you're coming. I'm just saying, with everything we're going to talk about, if you will not identify a problem, you'll never fix it. First thing I want to talk with you about is Minnesota State schools. Minnesota State, by the way, that's all the at vocational schools, that sort of thing through Minnesota. They are looking at an 18% increase for the next 2 years. 18%.
As high as.
What's that?
As high as 18%.
As high, okay.
They were somewhere between like 4 and 18%.
Okay.
Is what they were saying. Like 2% a year and 2 to 9% over the 2-year fiscal, 4 to 18%. And again, that's everything that's not the University of Minnesota. That the state of Minnesota is involved in higher education.
Okay, so let me just go down this where I'm headed with this. So let's say 10%. I don't care what the increase is. Have we already found out the results of what you guys did, the legislature did? Was it 2 years ago when you said we'll let anyone making less than $80,000, any family, go to their schools for free? Do we know how that's impacting? Is it all done? We know how many kids that's going to be?
We don't. That data is still coming in, and
Yep.
we're in the early years of all of that.
Okay.
And you were the one. I'm going to give you props right here, right now. You were the one that said 2 years ago, this will give these schools a license to raise tuition.
Yep.
You watch.
There's
and you know what?
You're
You were right.
There was no downside pressure. There's no people that you're trying to get into it because we're paying for those to get in, so they don't care what it costs. Okay, thank you for bringing that up, by the way. But here's we don't know how that's going to work. We had a report on Monday from the guy from Concordia College. I think it was Concordia College, Century College. Dean there. Said in 2023, 15% of the students going to a school were ghost students. They didn't exist. Some guy in a basement somewhere signing up for classes across the country, filling out FAFSA, getting the money, and then just not going to class. What does he care? Doing this hundreds of times because they're all online classes. I can tell that university how they can make 15% up pretty easily if they just stop doing that. You know, why is fraud baked in?
No, what you need to do is you need to get the students back in the bricks and mortar buildings.
Thank
We
you.
are losing the ability to interact. It's like I can't talk to you. I have to text you. I can't talk to you. I can't look you in the eye. I must text you. That drives me nuts. And maybe I'm of a certain generation, but I think it's rude.
Well, even if it's a certain generation, here's the thing. You want to do an online class only. You don't want to go to the school, and I don't care if you lived in Mississippi, but you're going to take a University of Minnesota class because you like it. If it's your money, have at it. I could care less. But when you fill the FAFSA thing out and you say, hey, Al and his wife and everyone and Mr. O'Driscoll, we got to pay for this. We're going to help you pay for this. That's what they're stealing is the FAFSA money. If you're going to do that, I think I have the right to say you got to show up. The guy in the article said, we could fix the problem if we had them show up one day, meet the instructor, right? Yeah, shake a hand or at least look eye contact in because the guy from Mississippi can't take that class then. So if you just did that, you solve this problem. Is it asking too much of Al and his wife and all the taxpayers to say, I'd like to do that? That's worse. If you want my money, you show up for one day. If the teacher can do the rest after that, I don't care. Is that really that hard?
Here's the other problem you're going to have. I'm going to spin it the other direction. So the student doesn't want to come to class. How about the teacher that doesn't want to come to class?
Think there's something to that. He said in the article that would be very hard.
Oh, absolutely. And let me give you some more daylight on that.
Okay.
A lot of universities have had, since we had the pandemic and it was all remote and stuff,
Yep.
they have moved out of the communities that they lived in. The St. John's and St. Ben's out by where I'm from here in central Minnesota.
Yep.
A lot of professors have moved to the metro and stuff, and they just, I don't want to say phone it in, but they Zoom it in. It's online classes and stuff, and maybe once or twice a semester they're coming to classes or being on campus. And maybe I'm being a little facetious, say once or twice, but they're not here on a full-time basis.
Yeah.
And I think you need to have people here on a full-time basis interacting with one another.
But yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. But my point going back to, if you have that problem, this guy said 15% of his kids. What in the world are you coming back to me for more money, up to 18%? I don't want to hear it. Here's the other problem I throw in. It is a different situation, but it's all my money. The University of Minnesota, what was her name? Marion O'Neill, Representative O'Neill, comes out and she reads the stat, which no one has come out and said she's wrong on. 2,100 people at the University of Minnesota make more than the governor of Minnesota.
Yep.
100 make $300,000 or more. And these are the same people that come back for you and say, hey, Mr. We need $500 million or we're going to raise tuition. They did it 2 years ago. We are being robbed blind, my friend. Blind.
But I want to make one correction. You said Representative Marion O'Neill. It's now Marion Rarick. Representative Marion Rarick.
Okay, yes, thank you. She got married.
So people heard both of those names, it's the same person.
Okay, yeah, she just got married, right? Something like anyway.
A couple years ago, yep.
Okay. That's how I knew her. Anyway, but the point being is, even when you did the $800,000 for the University of Minnesota, you can go there, we'll pay for it, but we don't want you to raise tuition. As soon as you passed that law, they came out and said we're raising tuition. You can't help you can't stop us. We're land grant university. When does the state wake up?
Well, they go back and they claim that the reason that they have to raise tuition is they're blaming it on the legislature. Well, the higher ed committees didn't give us any money. Well, let me help you with the math on that. We're $6 billion in the tails, upcoming bienniums in the red, and were $400 million to the good. The committee I was the chair of, we had to cut. All right, we had to cut. They did in higher education as well, and higher ed, by the way, had a lot more to have to deal with, because if you remember the grant program, right, the Google grant program, that was like hundreds of millions of dollars in the red as well, a couple $100 million.
Folks, this is going to get worse before it gets better. I've got to go to break, sir. When we come back, can we talk some just budget, big number kind of thing? Tell people where we're at? I love it. Representative Tim O'Driscoll on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
There are many ways to explore Alexandria. Some like to experience the outdoors and all the fun winter in Minnesota can provide. Pick your favorite way to get in touch with nature. Others like to explore downtown in the warm comfort of a boutique or gathered around a table with friends. You can do all of that or relax and do nothing at all. Come explore Alexandria. Start planning at explorealex.com.
Are you kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-AL's show.
We've got Representative Tim O'Driscoll on the program. Representative, I think I'm figuring out a better way for me to understand or share this when we talk about this budget number. Because I keep on saying this is an increase. You take that $17 billion out, and this is where it gets confusing, but it shouldn't. Folks, there was a $17 billion surplus 2 years ago. They spent it all. The bottom line now is they need a $17 billion surplus because $71 billion is the new high water mark, and they go for there. I think Walz is looking to cut $1 billion from that. That makes him seem like a good man. The House is 1.4, I think. The senators, they're really doing it up. They'd like to cut $2.4 billion, meaning you're about $69 billion taxes or income. And folks, from $52 billion 4 years ago, that's just about a 40% increase. Am I getting it about right, sir?
Yeah, and that's a little bit lower than the $71 million, a billion, excuse me, because that had some one-time spending that was in there as well from that $17 billion. But what you did leave out is that along with that $17 billion that was spent, that people got their $2,000, no $1,500, no $200 rebates back.
And we taxed it.
Not everyone,
And we taxed that as well. When you got it, you got a tax on it at the end. You got to love that. Gotta love that.
There was a $10 billion fee and tax increase on top of that. So really, the spending was $27 billion because the surplus was gone, plus a $10 billion tax increase.
So where do we go from here? I mean, what do you think that number is going to fall on, sir? Do we have? I mean, you guys have. I think it's 29 days when you get back. Can we get this thing done? I read somewhere you've got like 3 bills that have passed you. 3 bills have passed so far in this entire session. Can you get the Big Daddy done in 29 days?
Well, there may have been 3 bills that the governor has signed. We've passed many more than that out of the House, and the Senate may not have passed the like bills, and some of that still may have to be conferenced and some of the other stuff. I will tell you that the House, the Senate, and the governor are closer than we have been in past bienniums on what the spending should look like on a go-forward basis here for the next biennium. I am hoping that within short order, within a week or so, by the time we get back, because we're back on Monday after the Easter Passover break. So like let's say Monday the 28th, right? I'm hoping that we have joint targets and we can skip over all of this, dance with the Senate and dance with the governor kind of a thing, and we just have the numbers so we can get in and just get it done. We have a roadmap for the next 2.5 weeks about what bills are coming up in the House and how they're going to go through Ways and Means spending bills, make sure that the spending is, actually in keeping with what the budget agreements are for the House, and then to the floor, and then the Senate will do the same thing, and then we'll go to conference committees. But it doesn't do any good to go to conference committees until we have agreed upon numbers that the governor, the Senate, and the House agree on the total dollar package, and then the breakdown by budget area.
Can I ask, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't, I'm not trying to put you in a box, how much is the governor and or his people, we see him out all over the place, I mean, he's everywhere across the country, how much has he been involved and said, here's my number, you guys got to hit this and this and this? Has he done much of that, or is this you and the Senate will get it all figured out, and then he's going to walk in and, again, one more cook in the kitchen?
Yeah, he has sent through his commissioners and through his staff memos and communications to us about what he sees, what he would like for budgets and budget spending. And I have to tell you, I don't know of anybody that's happy with the governor right now and his budget proposal and him traveling around the country and kind of being the absentee governor on this. And one of the things that's really got people up in arms right now is his pulling funding for non-public education. And people would say, well, why should we fund non-public education? Private schools? Well, this is the situation that has existed. Kids have been able to ride buses to get to school, right? And that's whether you're private or public school. They want to cut those kinds of things out. Specialists, right? The kids would go from the private school to the public school, or the public school would send a staff person over to provide for special ed needs or for other kinds of things and counseling and things that kids would get in the public school. And he wants to pull all of that and just say, no, private schools, you just go ahead and do that. Well, here's a dirty little secret, folks. If folks who are already paying money to send their kids to school through their property taxes have made a decision to send their kids as well to private school, if those kids show up on the doorstep at school, guess what your school is going to tell you? We have to raise your taxes because we have more kids and there's no more money. And they'll be down at the legislature saying the same thing. I am a very big proponent of educational choices. If you want to send your kids to a private school, I think that's great. You want to send them to a faith-based school, I think that's wonderful. You want to homeschool your kids, you go ahead and do that. You want to send your kids to a public school, that's great too. Educational options, no one size fits all. And we have to support that entire spectrum of education.
I think you guys have got no way in the world you're getting it done in 29 days, and I'm not hoping the worst for you, my friend, but I wouldn't make plans for the summer. Just throwing it out there.
But we've got a lot of lights on bills for spending and stuff, and again, that's all we need is a budget. We don't need any of this other policy stuff. So we're number one top priority is get the budget done.
All right, my friend. Got to go. We're out of time. Have yourself a good Friday and a happy Easter, my friend.
You too. Talk to you soon.
All right. We'll see him again here in a couple weeks.
All the special interests are represented in St. Paul. But who speaks for you?